Good morning, Forest Park. Today's March 31st, 2021. I'm Don Jones. I'm the city manager here in Forest Park. This is our show Off the Cuff, and we're going to talk a little bit about things of interest that are coming up over the next week. And today we're going to devote it strictly to some of the things that are coming up in our Public Works Department. I have with me today James Roberts, our Public Works Manager. And this week is Easter and Passover, so we want to make sure that many of our citizens are celebrating Easter and Passover this week, and we want to wish them a happy and successful celebration this weekend. That marks the traditional beginning normally of spring, and spring begins our Chipper program. Chipper program is going to start April 5th, and I wanted to again bring James here to talk about the program, talk about some of the things that the citizens can do to help us out and make this a very efficient and well-run program so we can continue it and get the work done as quick and as efficient as possible. So James, tell us a little bit about the program, some of the things that happened last year, maybe some stats.
The program went well last year. We chipped 3,225 piles,
Wow.
totaling 1,300 cubic yards of wood chips.
That's a lot of piles.
Yes, it
and,
is.
It's a lot of work, and it doesn't get done unless it's done quickly and efficiently. And I know that last year we talked about some of the things that the citizens could do in terms of how they set out their piles and some of the rules that we have to follow, because we don't want it sitting out there for weeks and months.
You're absolutely correct. The best way is if everybody could stack all their wood at the curb in between the sidewalk and the street. Make sure you don't block the sidewalk, because residents still have to be able to have passage. Put all the cut-ins facing the road, so it's easier for the guys to grab a hold and they can feed it quicker, make it more efficient.
So the cut ends should be facing the street to make sure that our guys can grab it and just take it right into the thing. They don't have to manipulate it. How about wire or tying things up, things like that? That kind of screws things up too, doesn't it?
Yeah, it gets in there, it tears our machines up. Metal, it tears our blades up, dulls the machinery, does damage. So we don't want no wire, no bundles.
Nothing with nails?
Nothing nails. You're not allowed to use, we do not chip any lumber, anything manufactured, fence, split rail, any foreign debris at all. So if you clean out your fence row, don't throw rocks. We don't have the time doing that many piles a year to sort through.
Yeah.
So if we pull up and see garbage, boards and fencing and wire in the pile, we go on to the next house.
Yeah, and there's other ways to get rid of that. They can throw that literally in the garbage cans.
Exactly.
If they cut it into small enough pieces.
Right, we have a lot of dead trees and a lot of limbs.
Yeah.
We can't take any more than 8-inch diameter. We ask you to leave it long as you can. It's easier on us to pick up one branch and feed a long branch in than to pick up, 2 armfuls of 1 foot branches.
Yes. Yeah.
So the longer the better.
Yeah. If it's cut off and it looks like a big tree at the end, should they trim that down a little bit maybe? Because we need to make sure it can fit into the chipper.
Absolutely. Our opening on the chipper is only 10 inches.
Okay.
So if it's wider than 8 inches, we ask you to cut the forks off. If it's got a bush that you've pulled up, if it has dirt on it, once again, we can't run the dirt through the chipper, it clogs it up.
Yeah, just
so
ruin
we
it for
ask you to
everyone.
cut the root ball off, disregard that.
Yeah, because if the chipper gets blocked and gets out of service, then all of a sudden your neighbor, the next neighbor down the street, everyone's affected by that, because we can't pick up any of their stuff because we have to take it off service and go clean it and fix it, and it just makes things worse for the entire community if people don't follow the rules.
Now, if we schedule everybody, the first week of the month, starting Monday, will be the first full week. It follows that pattern except for July and September.
Okay.
July, we're closed for the 4th of July, so we'll start on the day of the 12th, and we'll chip that week. And in September, it's Memorial Weekend, we'll start on the 13th.
So we go from April through October?
Yes.
Last year we extended it, and that seemed to work out better for everyone. to have a longer time period. We don't have 2 or 3 or 4 times a month, but we have a longer period where we're picking up.
Right.
So that makes it I think a lot better, because people have yard debris at the beginning of the season, at the end of the season as well.
Right. October was a busy month for everybody doing their final cleanup before winter come in.
Yeah, so I think it works out best this way, that we extend the season out, and so basically every first week of the month, there's your section, wherever you're at on the schedule, Monday through Friday, there'll be a pickup there, depending on where you're at.
That's correct. And now they can go on the website at www.forestpark.org, go to the search bar, type in chipper,
Okay.
and the first link, you can click on that and it'll give you the rules and the days that they'll
the
be at your
schedule.
house, the schedule.
That's great. That'll be it makes it pretty simple. So if anybody has any questions, not only we want you to go to our website, because that's the easiest place to go. But if you have any questions, you can still call us here at City Hall, and we can tell you more about it.
Yeah, 595-5200.
Correct.
If you have any questions. If we don't pick you up on your day and we're behind, we'll be there the next day. We follow up the day before's schedule first.
Yeah, one of the things that we had issues last year, and I just want to remind folks that, it needs to be out the night before, because if we come by that street and there's nothing out there, we may not come down that street. So we send out crew to see where the piles are, and then we schedule it as they're there. So if you set it out at noon on the day it's supposed to be picked up, we may have already been down your street, and we'd have to come back and get it. So make sure you set it out the night before. Don't leave it out there longer than that, though. We don't want it out there a week ahead of time. But this really just depends on how much there is, because you can only pick up so much in a day. Yeah.
We have a 10-minute time limit. We only can spend at each house. So we come in, and the more branches that are stacked properly, the quicker we can load them. If it's all tangled and just a rat's mess down there, it takes us longer to separate it, so we don't get as much chipped.
Yep.
So you'll end up with stuff left behind.
Yeah, and that's because we have to cover the whole city, and so we want everyone to kind of understand that that whatever amount that they want to put out, it needs to be able to be processed within that window, that 10-minute window. And if it's more than that, save it for the next time, and or find, again, you can put it, a lot of it, you can put it in your garbage can. Rumpke will accept yard waste. Right. So don't forget about that. The smaller pieces like that can easily go in your garbage can every week. This is a program that's been around for a long time, and we've offered, as traditionally offered to our citizens, and it's very popular with our citizens. So one of the questions we get all the time is, why are we doing this instead of other things? And we spend a lot of man hours and a lot of dollars, really, to do this as a service for our community. So maybe expand on that a little bit, James, is kind of, what ends up happening? Why do we do this? And what's the benefit of doing this versus just throwing it in the trash?
Well, it helps keep the landfills from filling up so much. We can then we can turn around and use some of the wood chips around the public works facilities and some of our right-of-way areas. We can use to help with weed control.
And that's good. It's sort of a very environmental friendly service that we're doing, and it's one of the things that Forest Park prides itself on is being a tree city. We want to make sure that, and we have a very robust environmental department. So this is one of the processes that we use to help, again, as you said, keep it out of the landfills and to keep it off the streets. It's hard for a citizen to get rid of a big hunk of tree, and there's so many trees in Forest Park, and people trim them and so forth. So it gives everybody the opportunity to dispose of those in a proper, efficient manner so they're not eyesores. And also gives you incentive to, as a citizen, you can go out and cut some of those limbs off without having to worry about what you're going to do with them. Because that seems to be a lot of folks that, just don't know what to do with their debris, and it becomes overwhelming. Right. So this is something that It's popular, and it serves two purposes: environmental and from a landfill standpoint, but from the citizens can then go and do the work that actually improves their yards, improves their neighborhoods, makes it safer because they can cut these limbs down and has a place to take them. So I think it's a great service, and it's unique to Forest Park. Many cities don't have this. I mean, I can't think of any actually that do. I'm sure they do, but it's something that has been historic to us, and we're kind of proud of it. Well, thank you, James. I appreciate you being here and explaining this to the citizens. It's a great service. We provide it every year, and we want to make sure that everyone knows the rules, and we can be very efficient and be successful in picking up everyone's yard waste that needs to be chipped as quick and efficient as possible. Again, we want to thank you all for viewing, and stay safe, Forest Park.